You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Salam. My name is Sheikh Abu Hakim Abdullah, excuse me, President Chairman of Al-Masjid Sharia Allah, a non-profit religious organization operating in the state of Rhode Island, USA, AMSA. Excuse me, AMSA is the name of our organization. When you cut it down, it's AMSA, A-M-S-A. And company. We've been operating here in Rhode Island for many years now. And we're well known in Rhode Island. People know the organization. Rhode Island is a small place, a little more than 1 million people. But out of that 1 million people, about 75% of that watches two major stations in Rhode Island. Maybe a little more, maybe 85% of it. Our Cox is a major company here in Rhode Island, and Verizon is a major company here in Rhode Island. There's also a couple of satellite companies here in Rhode Island that don't have this channel on it as of yet. But they will, I guess, soon. But I'm saying all this to let you know that many people are looking at us, not only in Rhode Island, in parts of New England, and in New England, because Cox goes into Boston, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. Verizon goes all over the country, you know that. So I'm going to talk to you tonight or today or whenever you're looking at this about our condition as Muslims. I'm not trying to cut Muslims up, but I'm trying to tell the truth in order to wake Muslims up. Islam is if it's not the best, it is one of the most glorious, lovely religions in the world. Why a lot of people are hating Islam is not because it's a lousy way of life. No, that's not the reason. It's not because it's greedy and trying to take all the money people got cuts out everywhere, trying to get involved in everything begging. It's not like we play a lot of loud music and all that, and we bounce around and dance around and jump up and down on the floor and different things. It's not that we accept Jesus Christ, Salam Alaikum, in a manner other than what he is or what he was. And a lot of them people you can say is because a lot of that is still living today. Their memories are living in us. Islam is hated because of what? Because it's a coat puller. You know what I mean by a coat puller? Some of you don't, maybe don't know. Islam wakes you up. Through history, Islam has taken people that was considered the scum on the street and made them businessmen and everything else. Islam is a glorious religion, way of life. It's not a religion, it's a way of life. It has something to do with man 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It teaches man how to govern himself. It teaches women how to govern themselves. But everybody's taking little things and hen-picking stuff out and taking and making it by putting it by itself. And if it by itself, it can be anything you want it to be. Any name you want it to become, you can do that with a word by itself. This is why words have more than one word in a sentence, because it clarifies that one word you're talking about with all the other words. They call adjectives and pronouns and adverbs. But we, the people, are made up of different kind of people. We're made up of free will, which God did not want to put into man, but he had to put free will into man for man to have a choice. For people who have a choice, free people and perfect people. So, with that free will comes choice. Now, if you have two things in each hand, you have a glass of water in one hand and a glass of shiny juice in another. It's all filled with sugar, spices, and everything corrupted. And the water clear, you can see everything, it's clear in it, it's clear, it looks like nothing, it's so clear. And you put that down on the floor, and you say to your baby, you take one of them. You know what your baby going to do? Your baby going to crawl to this slimy stuff, this so-called a fruit bowl or Coca-Cola or all these other things that's fuzzing and buzzing and whatnot, this champagne bottle, this alcohol thing with the horses and the ponies and all that on it, and he walked past the water. So this is this world. In the left hand, my left hand is this world, with all these different things going on in it. Man has chosen that as his place to want to be, as the place he or she wants to be. It's the place that they enjoy, the things that they're doing. Just look at their habits, look what they want, look how they dress, look how they carry themselves. Look at the different things they say to each other. Look how mean they are to each other. Look how evil they are to each other. Today I heard a man say on the television, on the news, he was holding a 5-month-old baby in the air. And another man said, well, in New York or Brooklyn or somewhere, this man said on CNN, well, it's written, the statement is that they let the bombers, let the rockets hit their babies and their children, for they can raise them up in the air on TV and use them to get sympathy for what they're doing. Now, that's a nasty thing to say about somebody. That's a nasty thing to say about a man holding his son or daughter up in the air at 7 or 8 months old, where he just pulled it out. And you see when they pulled it out, the baby was limped. It's like that, from under bricks and rocks and stones. And the same thing happened with the Israel babies. They being pulled out underneath bricks and rocks and stones, but not as many. Not as many, because One country is armed with rockets that you just shoot in the air, like the ones you get for Christmas or for 4th of July. You just light them, shoot them, and they just go. Psh, 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 psh. The other one is targeted, aimed. They aim with a guided, with a radar, like a beam, come down and make a target on something, and the missile's got something in its head to make it fly to that target. And kill who it wants to kill, who people are aiming at to kill. So these are professional killers. Where the other ones is like kids, trying to hit the boat in the water off the top of the hill with one brick or a bunch of bricks. So they throw a bunch of stones in there, and one of the stones going to hit it and sink it. That's good. That's luck. So we can't say one is not a one. You can't say that one there is also a professional killer. It's not aiming. It's just throwing a bunch of rocks in there and hoping that one of them will hit. This is what is happening overseas. So Allah came along years ago and tried to get man to look at all this kind of stuff in the beginning. But we picked up Islam and we turned around and we twisted it. It's none of the things that the law has made for us to do and demand that we do and how we carry ourselves and how we be together is being done. I listened to the news today, or the other day. I listen to the news every day. And a man said, well, we can't blame the president of the Palestinians for every rocket that's being sent over here. That's what he sent in Israel. Why can't they blame him? Because they got 5 or 6 other groups that feel like they can do the same thing. Listen to what I just said. We done split Islam up into sets. Then the set done split up into sets. And the set done split up into sets. And Allah said, don't split your religion up into sets. This ummah is one ummah, one single ummah. Not a bunch of little ummahs, one single little ummah. And I am your Lord, so obey me and no other. But are we obeying the law and no other? Now we got a group of people call themselves moderates. They don't want to do Islam the old way. They want to make it to match the new way. They want to do what the Christians are doing in the new world. This is a new era. This is different than the old years. This is completely opposite from all the old times. See, in the old times, we was just. It's the old time. There was no stealing back then in the old time. There was no robberies back then in the old time. There was no murders back then in the old time. There was none of this stuff going on. There was no nudity back in the old time. There was nothing going on back in the old time except we were living the way they say this. In the new time, we've got to change our religion to match the new year, because in the new year, there's other things going on. Well, let me tell you something. It's just as bad now today than it was 50 years ago, or 100 years ago, or 400 years ago. They was running around the carpet. We were running around the carpet with no clothes on back yesterday. Naked. Without everything hanging out. And then came Islam. And we got clothes. We was told to wear clothes and run around. Back yesterday, we were praying to 365 statues. Then we got Islam. And we didn't pray to no statue. None of them was just as bad. All of them was just as bad as the other one. We didn't have one, the rain god and the sun god and all that kind of stuff going on that everybody else had. We got Islam. Then back then we was taking kids and buried them in the ground. Girl kids, we buried them in the ground. Because they had no use. They had no use for girl kids back then. But then came Islam. And we stopped burying them in the ground. The Lord said, you don't do that. You don't bury nobody in the ground. You don't put girls in the ground. Islam came. And you follow what I'm saying to you. So, instead of burying them in the ground today, they throw them in the toilet. Or either they take it, and some doctor take a pair of pliers and crack their skulls in little pieces and pull the pieces out one at a time. Or they take, in the jungles in some places, they turn around and they still turn around and they take a rod and run up in there and kill the baby. Or they take some pills and poison the baby. There's the same thing going on. But the Islam haven't reached them. You see, they don't have Islam, these people that's doing this. They don't have no Islam, the people that's walking around half naked. They don't have no Islam doesn't come to them, the people that's walking around with their drawers showing. They don't have no Islam, the people that's jumping up, hollering and screaming in the church. You see what I'm saying to you? This thing that you're running from is not poison. It's not a snake. It's not a lion. It's not trying to make you take off your clothes. It's not trying to make you get drunk. It's not trying to offer you a drink. We have no imams that stand up there with a bottle of bourbon in his hand, or a bottle of wine, and two crackers, talking about the blood of Jesus and the flesh of Jesus. We're not doing that. What are we doing to you? We're not doing anything to you. But for years, we had people coming into our Muslim countries trying to get the spices and everything else that's nice, and putting people in prison, killing them and all this kind of stuff, trying to get the riches out of the country to take it back to England, France, Germany, and all these other places. And mistreating the people. For years. We had these people doing this. They came from Italy, they came from Rome, they came from Georgia, they came from Greece, they came from England. They rode down on horses and steel jackets on in 200-degree temperature. They call themselves the Crusaders, the Knights of Columbus, the Greeks. The Fifth Army, the Germans, the French, the Italians. can go on and on and on and on and on. The Catholic Church, the Baptist Church, the Greek Orthodox Church. And then first the church comes, and the army comes to protect the church. Then the army comes, then the people come with the army in order to raise cattle for the army and the church. Now you got a whole 15,000, 17,000 people on a little bit of piece of land called a fort. And where they got to live at? They got to push out and get land for the fort. And they got to take the land. And listen to what I'm telling you. What I'm saying to you. I know I went around the circle through a lot of things, but I have to go to let you see these different things. Let you see them. Islam is not your enemy. The enemy in Islam is the enemy to you, like the enemy to us, like the enemy to everybody. Is a chosen few people. But the chosen few people are somewhat protected by different laws within the tribe. Fear is another thing. But what are you doing? What are we doing, the Muslim? Are we standing up against these people? Every time a person says Allahu Akbar and throw a bomb into a restaurant and kill 4 or 5 people, you know what? And you better look at this. The people in that place don't blame that man. They say that that man was blinded by Islam. Islam told him to do that because Islam told him to jihad against you. And that's a lie. Allah told the Muslim, man or woman, to protect yourself against those that try to do harm to you. And to strive against disbelief and hypocritism. Now, disbelief is a poison, a real #1 poison. Look at it. Disbelief is the reefer sellers. Disbelief is the narcotic growers. Disbelief is the crimes that's going on in Mexico and all these other places, killing people for gold, for money, for dope. Disbelief is wearing your clothes above your butt. Disbelief is selling your body in the street and passing out AIDS and everything else. That's disbelief. And that's what we told to fight against, whether your mother got it, my mother got it, or your father got it. But what are we doing? We're not doing that. We're not standing up for our religion and defending it. We're doing everything else but that. Allah tells us that in this book. Allah tells us that. What to do. This book is our lifestyle, our life. This book is, Allah tells us how to live. And we must live by this or we're going to die. We're going to disintegrate ourselves. That's no joke. That's serious. Look around you. You got people in 10, 20,000, 2012 throwing rockets across at each other on the same piece of land. They're not on 2 different countries. They're on the same piece of land. Not even a river between them. What they got between them is the Golden Heights, a piece of land between them. They can ride down to the next block is Gaza. The next block up the hill is the West Bank. And the next block over to the right is Israel and Tel Aviv. And what they do, we fighting each other. Now I'm going to get to that, what we got to do about that. But I'm talking about us. We must, the president of Gaza, or whatever it is, must turn around and get to and control the people. All of the people. There is no separate one. What is first with us, there's one thing that we got. We got a string that's holding the beads together. Islam. We tied to that string, Islam. We must do what that string says do. Go that way or go this way. We can't go this way. You just can't go this way. You can't push against it that way. You must go with it. And when brothers don't want to go with it, we must then make him go with it. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said to the people, they said, if you see a brother doing wrong, what do you do? He said, oh, what do we do, brother? What do we do, O messenger? So you tell him to stop. And if you tell him to stop and he don't stop, what do we do then? And you tell him to stop again. And if you tell him to stop again, what do we do the third time? He said, take him by the hand and lead him away from it. Take him by the hand and lead him away from it. And if one can't do it, then let the all do it. Because that's what he said, let the all do it. Because you're all one family. You're all one family. And if you don't obey the laws of Allah, you're going to the hellfire. In this world or either hereafter. I'm telling you like it is. I'm telling you straight like it is. I'm not holding the punches back from you. You must do what you must do. And what you must do is what you must obey Allah. If he said jump, how high? If he said go left, how far? If he said go right, do it. Show me how many feet right. If you just put on your clothes, tell me when to stop. Oh my Allah. And start putting on your clothes. And you see how beautiful you be. If you get every ant in New York to step up at one time and walk across Fifth Avenue, they'll stop traffic. That's how bad they be. They'll stop traffic. I've seen the brothers want to put a so-called mosque or a masjid in the business section. The stores and stuff. Allah's apostle said, don't do that. The business area and the business section is the place of the devil. Where any money is going, business is going on, that's the place of the devil. Build it off of that area. Let them come out of that area to pray. But every mosque we see is right in the middle of all that devil, all that evil. Next door to a liquor store, next door to a barn. What are we following? It says build your mosque from this day on, build your mosque from the ground up. Let not a non-believer maintain or enter your houses of worship. Show me where that's being done.